Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Ryan. You probably know me as your success coach, but if you don't, this will be your first introduction. I'm here with EHHS Online, and we're presenting the Learning Center today. Who do we have joining us?
Hi, everyone. My name is Regan Levitte. I'm the Assistant Director and Writing Specialist at the Claude Clark Learning Center, which is live on site for students to use for tutoring, but also is available to you as an online student.
Excellent. So I guess, do you want to provide any fun facts or an introduction to yourself further? How did you get here? How long have you been at the college? Anything like that?
I worked at the college since 2020. I'm actually the college's very first fully electronically onboarded employee. So I know all about kind of being in the online zone. It happens. I got through this work because I specialize in the training of writing tutors. Which might be relevant to you all as EHHS students who might want to use the services. So Chris asked me to come and talk with us about how to book appointments, which is a big point of this video. But I'm someone who has trained tutors, I've been tutored, and I have been the tutor. And so one thing that Chris and I have in common is that we were both English majors in college. We did not go to college together, but we were both English majors, where you do a lot of writing. Do you have any foundational writing feedback stories, Chris?
Man, so many to pull out of the bag. I just want to begin with reinforcing your point about, just trying to provide those opportunities for connection and then finding your own way once what we offer and what we can do to help you. And as far as I don't know, writing feedback stories, I actually just submitted my topic proposal for my practicum for my master's program. So luckily I got good positive feedback from my mentor, who's going to be kind of, guiding me through the process. And one of the big points that we're trying to stress up front regards obviously form and taking care of things in the APA 7 style. So that's where some of my most recent focus has been, as well as on the research process, but nothing so much right now.
Okay. Like I think about a formative story for me was I was a really strong high school writer and was really interested in writing and knew I wanted to be an English major right away. I was like, that's for me, dog. I'm in. And I took my Keystone Literary Theory course, which was what you had to take before you could do any of the literature classes. And I was really maybe too excited, was what I told my professor. But we had to analyze the short story A Rose for Emily by Flannery O'Connor through the lens of psychological theory or Freudian theory. And my very first college paper was a D plus. And I was like, oh no. So I ended up going to writing tutoring later on, and it was actually really helpful to me to talk about writing with someone who was a peer and who was into it. And it really helped me get better at my game, especially then once I was in my master's program. I was religiously at the writing center when I was working on my master's thesis. So I'm a big believer in just get the help if you need it. It's not hard once you start going.
Yeah. You know, now that you told that about how you kind of got your start with the major and the direction with English and writing, I feel like I kind of stumbled into it. Initially in my undergraduate studies, I was pursuing biochemistry as a major, and I just didn't. I
That's a
felt
hard pivot, Chris.
yeah, oh, big time. But I found, a love for reading in college that I didn't really gather when I was in high school. And with that, I started to take some gen ed requirements and I fell in love with writing during a creative writing class. So
Mhm.
that was kind of like my origin story, I guess.
Right.
And
And now
then
look how far you've come.
yeah, now we're here, 10 years later almost.
Right.
And so, over the course of that time, it's just been about, reading as much as I can and, practicing the mechanics of it and trying to find my voice and, experimenting with it and trying to just transcend the form. And, I've taken advantage of, especially in my undergrad, writing services. I went to Binghamton University for my undergrad. Um, and then it's been more about the informal networks that I've pursued since then, I think.
Mhm.
You and I have had our own conversations about writing and, the importance of communication and how it kind of takes form in our world now. And so I'm just trying to kind of connect and stitch together my own pieces with that.
Right. So the good news is, much like Chris and I, you as a SUNY Plattsburgh online student do still have access to all the same free writing support and other tutoring opportunities that the rest of the college does. So you can still utilize our services. We offer three different kinds of tutoring. The one that's big for especially um, general education requirements would be content tutoring. So that's tutoring for like math, biology, psychology, the big hitters that people usually struggle with. We do offer also free writing tutoring services. Those students take a course with me to learn how to give really good writing feedback. And then we also offer academic personal training, which are peer tutors who can help you with time management and understanding how to balance your time as a busy person. As an online student, you may be working full time. You can still take advantage of all of those services and help understand what you need to be doing and how to proceed with like your educational goals. That's what the Learning Center is here for.
Very cool. And you're reading my mind right now. I was going to ask what the main services are. We're diving right in.
I was
I,
ready.
I want to follow up on one of the specific pieces, especially given your writing background. Um, are there any, skills or specifics that you wanted to bring up in terms of, how you can work with the Learning Center to improve upon specific writing skills, or if somebody has a specific concern?
Sure. So one thing to know is that when I train the writing tutors, I train them to work on a scale of what we call higher order concerns to lower order concerns. So like a higher order concern is going to be something like making sure your idea is well developed, that your writing is clear and understandable, that you have like a thesis and you've cited sources and you've met like the assignment criteria. Maybe it looks like a little bit of wordsmithing sentence to sentence. Then they'll probably do things like fixing any grammar errors or teaching you how to do that and going through proofreading strategies. Oftentimes they'll have you read your paper out loud, and that can help you kind of catch anything, just because with how our brains work, it's once you read it out loud, it changes how you're taking in that information. So that's kind of what it looks like. I would say, especially for folks who are in like the education department, that clear and concise rhetoric is really, really important. Um, to make sure that you're effectively communicating lesson plans, ideas, research projects, and things like that, where you really need to hit a wide audience and make sure that you're communicating well. And additionally, it's like good skills that you can pass on for, especially like I think of the education folks who might be writing letters home to parents or of their students or things like that, where you have to be very, very clear and precise.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's some opportunities to learn how to know your audience in that too.
Yeah, maybe, right. We'll talk about audience too, or who you're writing for is helpful. Many of the writing tutors here are in the BAMST program, so they might share professors with you and have kind of the scoop, if you will, on like, oh, if I'm writing for so and so, I might do something more like this, or this person is a little tougher on these sorts of concepts. Although I think by far you'll find our faculty here are really understanding and want you to do your best.
Yeah, very cool. Um, and so with that, are there any kind of common misconceptions that students might have about tutoring or just seeking help? And, how does the Learning Center help students maybe come over that initial anxiety for asking for support?
Hmm.
Um, Stuff like that.
I always tell students like asking for help the first time is the only hard time about it. Once you do it, like you get used to it. I also think I told my story of like I was someone who was like a high performer in high school and really thought I would take to the demands of college writing very easily, and I didn't. And that felt hard for me in that moment. But it was really only one step in learning to be a good writer and a good student. I think it's really important that when you go to school, you utilize all the resources available to you. That can be the Learning Center. It could be the Accessibility Resources Office. It could be Student Support Services or TRIO. It could be your academic success coach, Christopher Ryan. I think that's really key to understanding how to do the whole college thing. And like a good college has a good support network for you. And I think SUNY Plattsburgh does that well.
Yeah. I I think that's really good advice because I remember when I was going through, undergrad especially, and then you almost find a similar condition with being a graduate student because then it shifts like the expectation, like, oh, I'm supposed to know all of these things. Maybe I don't. And so you kind of have a gap or a blank to fill in. But I had a little anxiety when I was first reaching out. So that first time that you do really kind of resonated with me.
And I
And
think
then
like how many times in anyone's adult life have you asked for help? Like I've already asked for help 6 times today, bare
yeah.
minimum.
And it reminds me of some of those like familiar phrases too, where like it takes a village, or there's that foundation in the community that brings us together for we have that kind of self-sufficiency in our own area, but we need to lean on each other to develop and enhance our skills that we have.
All right.
Um,
So should we learn how to book an appointment at the Learning Center?
I think so. I was gonna say, can you walk us through some steps to book an appointment?
I can. So the first thing you'll need to do, and I will share my screen so we can see some slides, is that you will want to log into your Plattsburgh portal, and then you'll see on the side of your Plattsburgh portal, it looks something like this. You'll click on Cardinal Star. That is the system that we use to book appointments at the Learning Center. You'll land on a page that's called your Success Network. So you'll see like Chris's ID photo, some of your professors' photos. There is a way to change your photo, which everyone can ask me how to do later. And you'll see that you're connected to a bunch of different services that are all on these little tiles. So you can hit schedule at the bottom of the appropriate tile. So we'll pretend for the sake that you're going to book an appointment for a math class. So you'll click schedule down at the bottom. It'll take you into the page where you'll see all of the appointments available for the next 2 weeks. Sometimes, usually 10 days, actually, I take that back. And if you'd like to book for like a math class or economics or something like that, that would be considered content tutoring. You have to do the next step, which is that you need to specify in the drop-down menu which course you're looking for. We organize the tutors by subject, but they're cleared by class or recommended by class to tutor. So you'll see here our tutor example, Adib, is an economics and math tutor. You might be looking for Math 101. Adib only tutors for Math 221. So by making sure that you've specified which class, it just removes anyone who's not relevant to you. So then you'll just click on the appointment type or the appointment that you want. And then it will take you to the next screen. So important to us as online students is you'll look for the multiple appointment locations designation on the appointment. That's how you'll know someone could tutor online for you and give you a Zoom link. Rather, the Zoom link will come to you. You'll see that our other tutor here, Evan, just has Learning Center. He doesn't have that secondary location. So you'd click on Adib, and it will take you, once you filter through for that, you'll see, and you click on Adib's appointment, you'll see that the next screen will confirm like time and place, and then you'll have a location drop-down menu. You just need to select online tutoring via Zoom. Then you should leave some notes. The more notes you leave for your tutor, the better. So, you're looking for Math 221 or whatever. I want to talk about calculus, blah, 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 right? So the more notes you leave, the easier it is for them. It helps them get prepared. They might look at old notes from a classroom. They might reach out to a faculty member they're close to. It just kind of depends. So then you'll hit submit, and then you'll get a Google Calendar reminder from Cardinal Star in your SUNY Plattsburgh email. And you'll get a confirmation, which will have your Zoom link in it. So that way you can just click on the link and get into your appointment. Easy peasy.
That's excellent.
Right. Otherwise, if you want to schedule a writing appointment or an APT appointment, it's one less step, but you'll just need to look for the appointment. Once you go in, when you click on the appropriate tile for that, you can just click your time. Obviously, you would want to make sure that that person has multiple locations listed, and then you can still leave them some notes. I want to work on APA citations. I want to work on my thesis, things like that. So the more notes you leave, the better. Otherwise, if you need to cancel your appointment, which we do ask that you do within at least 24 hours, just because SUNY Plattsburgh community, we need to share the tutors judiciously. That means if you appointments can't be booked the day of, you always book a day in advance. But if you book early and you cancel early, it means that slot opens up for someone else. So we're just playing nice with each other, really, and being good community members. To do that, on the side navigation bar of Cardinal Star, you'll see the upcoming button. You'll click on that, and then you'll see all of your tiles that have all of your appointments on it for the week. And then you can just select the three dots at the bottom of the tile. You'll hit cancel. It will ask you to give a reason. So you can give your reason. I'm too sick to make it to the appointment. I have a doctor's office visit, whatever it tends to be. You'll hit cancel. You'll just get a confirmation that your appointment's canceled. So students we generally recommend that you stick to 4 appointments in a week. But if you find that you need more, just reach out to either myself or the director of the department, Karen Killow, who's my supervisor. It's rare we ever tell anyone no to having more appointments, but we just need to know so we can communicate with our team. If you have any other random questions, sometimes maybe Chris doesn't know who to get in touch with, you can use this button, request help. That has a lot of different flags associated with it where you could say different things that you're struggling with. It's a good place to also say, like, if you can't find a tutor or there isn't a tutor listed for a course you're looking for, there's a flag that does say I need a tutor in this course, and you can specify which one it is. So that's how you book.
Awesome.
It's still like a little fiddly, but once you do it a couple times, it's really no big deal.
I'll take a little fiddly over having nothing, because when I was in college, we didn't have stuff like this. So I think
Right.
this is pretty cool.
So, yep. So our general reminders, again, try to cancel your appointments that you've booked within bare minimum 24 hours, and then 4 appointments per week allowed. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. Otherwise, the things to know, I would say would be, your tutor isn't going to do the work for you, not that you would ever do that. And then they won't, our appointments are about an hour long, and they try to keep us to that just so they can see more people if they have appointment after you, for example. So.
Right. Thank you for providing that overview and, the multiple ways that they are able to connect with you. With our online students, we want to make sure that, we're offering these opportunities without imposing anything. So thank you for breaking down where they can find this and how they can get in touch. Aside from providing, as much info and stuff in advance within the forms, is there anything that you would recommend a student does prior to the session, whether it's, getting all of their course materials in one place or anything like that?
I would definitely say yes, making sure you have all of your course materials. If you have tabs open of like any readings, assignment sheets, you might want to make sure you have your Brightspace page open. That way you and your tutor can kind of share screens. I think that's always a good idea. Making sure that you have, not so many distractions is also good. Our tutors do tutor until about 9 p.m. Which is useful. So that way, if you are working during the day and then maybe you have to put kids to bed, should be good to go. Because hopefully the kids go to bed kind of early. Or at least I'm a big believer in going to bed early. So
yeah.
So that way you should be able to flex that. In fact, the tutors mostly prefer to go for an evening opportunity. I would say otherwise, if our hours might not work for you, or your other option would be to utilize Star New York, which you can access on your SUNY Plattsburgh portal under the helpful links, which is a free service that you can still utilize as well. So yeah, I think being prepared, having questions also a good idea. I would say sometimes you're like, teach me everything, and then the tutor goes, what? And you go, what, back? So I
Yeah.
think that's also helpful.
Yeah, because I guess, you have to start with the end in mind. So like, what are you hoping to get out of it? And then,
Mhm.
really that I think you make a great point of connecting that with your intentions and like, where do we start on this journey together? Whether it's just for a single session or a single project or, something more long form that you're gonna kind of persist and continue to dig deeper in. So I think that's great.
Right.
Um, quick opportunity maybe to plug anything that's going on with the Learning Center. Are there any upcoming workshops or special programs that maybe our online students should know about?
Mm.
Or is there something more cyclical that they could look forward to?
Well, this semester we're piloting accountability groups. So we're going to start with an in-person pilot, and maybe we'll see if we can move it online. If folks want to do kind of, I think they call it, and sometimes in like a neurodivergent spaces like parallel play, if you need to get work done with people in like a
Hmm,
certain fashion, like having like a study group. So
yeah.
that might be something to look forward to in the future. Otherwise, we are hoping to just continue to develop appointments and onboard more people to reach all sorts of online students. I would say if you have any questions about the Learning Center, feel free to, you can email me directly at rlevi007, or you can email the Learning Center directly at learningctr, both at plattsburgh.edu.
Hmm. Right. Well, thank you very much for hosting our first session. I hope that we can get some of our online students to connect with you. And we'll definitely welcome you back when there's more news to share or there's something else that we want to do for our online students.
All right, awesome. Thanks for having me, and hopefully we'll see you soon for some tutoring.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.